Welcome to day one of the upgrade. For those of you who have been around a while, this feels like a reunion because it's been almost a solid 2 years since I went into a live transmission publicly. So I'm really excited for those of you that I know very intimately, and I'm also very excited for those of you who I have never met before because this might feel a little bit different. The intention is to give context, energetic context for the huge wave of momentum that we have coming in this year. And we're going to talk all things destiny, creation, the energetics at play, and how we can position ourselves to ride this wave of momentum that I think a lot of people are feeling. So before we dive into that, who here, ooh, who here feels like you're at some sort of threshold? Like you've been on this path and there's some next iteration, next chapter. And it might just be like the next upgrade of what you're already doing, or it might be something completely vastly different, whether you understand it or not. But there's some sort of threshold that you're approaching beyond the mind, but you can mentally, emotionally, viscerally feel like you're on the edge of something. Yes, yes, yes. Great. So this is a huge collective, I'll say energetic event that's happening right now. And we're all in different phases of how it's affecting us. And we're going to talk about the different phases of destiny coming into form. Now, now I'll back up. Hi, my name is Jessica Bird. I am an intuitive advisor. I really went a non-linear path. I was a financial advisor. I was in sales. I did the corporate success, check the box, build a career thing. And in that time, when I was working in finance, all of my psychic abilities that I shut down when I was really little, I think, a fourth or fifth generation psychic, flipped online when I was working in finance. And this is before spirituality was trendy, before there was any common language that I knew for these intuitive or spiritual experiences. And I really just had to figure it out. Now, one thing led to another, divine intervention happened. And I was at a yoga festival in Houston. And a line of strangers lined up in public to receive energy work and intuitive insight from me that I had no intention of giving. I was very much in the spiritual closet. It I thought it would ruin my reputation. I thought it would jeopardize my very established cush career in finance. And one after the next, people cried in my arms and said, "This changed my life." And the last person of the day looked at me and said, "How long have you been doing this?" And in my head, I was like, "Well, my whole life." But then another part of me was like, "Just today." And I literally threw my hands up in the air and said, "Okay, I will do this." Because at that point, I was seeking. Oh, Lacey, you were there for that. I was desperately seeking because I had formed a very comfortable life for myself. I had checked the boxes of success in a lot of ways. And something inside of me knew that that wasn't it and that there was more for me. And I didn't know how to follow that. I didn't have a framework, but I leapt. And I left finance. I ended up building this whole spiritual business, mentoring a lot of high achievers. At that time, it was specifically a lot of high achieving women because that's who I was. So I attracted a lot of entrepreneurs, executives, other people going through a spiritual awakening. And over time, that's morphed into playing the role of intuitive counsel for public figures, for normal everyday people, for conscious companies, for people who have a large sphere of influence, because that's where it gets really important to understand how your energy affects people, how your decisions affect not only you, not only your team, not only your company or your clients, but the economy that you're a part of. And so we're in, I'll say, a season collectively where we've done a lot of personal development. We've done a lot of inner work. We've done a lot of spiritual awakening and intuitive activation and remembering, oh, yeah, I'm a lot more than just my body. I'm a lot more than just this human playing this human game. There's something more, and I want to see it, feel it, touch it, do it, create it, manifest it, live it. Like, I want to live the fullness of my soul, the fullness of my purpose. So, who here feels like you have some kind of mission, like a soul calling or a purpose or a mission? Like, there's Caitlin. Oh my gosh. Hi, Caitlin. Like, it's more than just you. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. This is important to note because if you are here with some sort of mission or purpose to fulfill, not from a place of, I have to give myself away or be the martyr for this other thing or these other people, that's not the vibe. But if you feel like you are here for something larger, which we all are, because we are all connected and we are in a huge evolutionary leap of consciousness, you have to be able to understand how your energy affects the whole. And also recognize that the collective energy probably affects you more deeply than the average person. And that's why it's important to understand what's happening right now so we can position ourselves, because this is a really exciting time. Quick logistics. I have 90 minutes set aside for today, 90 minutes set aside for tomorrow. I have pages and pages and pages of notes. We will see what direction we go in based on who's here and what comes through. Now, I'm not an astrologer. However, I have friends who are high level astrologers, and it's always fun to see how the astrology and my psychic read line up and overlap. This year of the fire horse, it's real. It is real. Now, I want to say we are in winter right now. So a lot of people are still feeling the crumbling, the death, the letting go, the who am I? What am I doing? I don't know. I'm kind of in the void. I know there's this thing and it's pulling me, it's calling me, but like I'm still crying. I'm still feeling things. I'm still letting go of relationships, ideas, ways of being, ways of doing things, habits. There's this kind of in between phase. Who feels like you're there? Every face on the screen. Great. Great. Okay. Where do we want to start? Let's start with the good news. There are several possible destinies available right now. Destiny is not linear. At destiny, we have a different destiny at each layer of consciousness that we access. So if you, let's say you're in a relationship and it's not really the best relationship, you fight a lot, you trigger each other, like your shit is coming up. You're working through your wounding together. And you learn and you grow and you develop tools, and then that relationship ends. And you elevate your level of consciousness. Well, now you're available for a different level of relationship. Because now you have more tools, you have more self-awareness, you have access to higher level of consciousness. Oh, this feels specific. For the single people out there, interesting. For the single people out there, if you felt like you've been single for a while and you're like waiting for this aligned match to come in, part of that is because the aligned match that you're waiting for is at a higher level of consciousness, and both you and the other person have been individually raising their level of consciousness so you can meet there. This is also true for business opportunities, for clients, for collaborators, for projects that need to be birthed. They don't need to be birthed. They want to be birthed. They're available to be created through you. Well, you have to be the aligned vessel for that next thing to come through. So if you feel like you're in this in between, who am I? What am I doing? Chances are your vessel is being fortified. Your vessel is upgrading to be able to hold, transmit, and sustain the thing that you desire, the thing that is waiting for you. Because you see it all the time. Somebody who knows nothing about money wins the lottery. A month later, that money is gone. They didn't have the vessel to hold or steward that amount of wealth. So it comes right in and it goes right out. So that's a part of the period that we're in right now. And that is a part of the upgrade that is happening. So I'm going to talk technology for a minute. And just know that I talk about things a little bit differently. I use analogy, and I might use words that you haven't heard before or haven't heard in this context. That's okay. You're in the right place. That's because I'm translating what I see in the quantum field into tangible, grounded language that we can understand that applies to our lives. So in this evolutionary leap of consciousness that we're in right now, we have to recognize that we are technology. And in this AI world, everyone is very prone to outsource power to external technology. Now, this external technology is growing at an exponential rate, whether we're ready for it or not. I mean, parabolic growth. We're going to look up in a couple months, a couple years, and not recognize the landscape because of how quickly technology is advancing. Now, the question becomes, at what point does external technology surpass our human evolution? That scares some people. We're losing power. We don't have a grip on anything. AI is going to take over. There's going to be robots and they're going to do this thing. That's a potential. That's sure. If we do not allow our own internal divine human technology to catch up. Because it's already coded within us. What scientists call junk DNA is DNA expressions that are dormant that can flip online. That's what happens when you go through a spiritual awakening often. That's what happened when I'm sitting in finance in a pencil skirt, creating a financial plan, and then I feel like I'm levitating out of my body and I have to hit child's pose because that's all I know how to do, because there's so much energy moving through and I'm seeing things, feeling things, getting visions. I didn't know what it was. Well, that's because those expressions of my DNA were turning online. They've been there the whole time. So everything that you need is quite literally already within you. And that is such a catchphrase. It's kind of annoying, like to say, but when you really understand it, it's empowering. Because all we have to do is shift our focus from the external world, the external technology that we're trying to keep up with, the chaos that we see in the world, which is really just a symptom of rapid change. I view it as a very beautiful thing, even though a lot of the things happening in the world are gut wrenching, heart wrenching. But if you zoom out and you look at the chaos in the world as a symptom of evolutionary change and say, okay, what can I do to align myself with this change? What can I do to upgrade my own inner technology? Because you know what? AI isn't telepathic. AI doesn't have a heart. AI doesn't have a soul. That might be up for debate in certain circles. AI doesn't have intuition. AI doesn't have sexual energy. AI doesn't have the creative life force energy that creates not only physical human life, but that creates ideas, projects, industries, revolutions, empires, families. AI doesn't have that. But we do. However, most of us don't know how to use it. We don't know how to use it. We don't know how to channel it. The competitive advantage of humanity we're taught is wrong, is shameful, is taboo. We're definitely not taught how to use it. And for most people, it's either suppressed or leaking. The fuel that animates you, the fuel that can create your next destiny, for most people, is either suppressed or leaking in places that you don't even realize. What? My battery's about to die. It's plugged in. Hold on. There we go. Put stuff in the comments as it's landing for you. I'm going to take pause breaks and go through them. So I want to actually tune into like where y'all are at with this, but we're going to keep going for a minute. So if we have a new destiny available at each layer of consciousness, and in order for that destiny to come into form, it needs to come through an upgraded version of ourselves. What does that really look like? Because ultimately, a lot of this in between toggle that people are experiencing is trying to run a new app on an old operating system. We know cell phones. Most of the world has an iPhone, maybe an Android, I don't know. You know that when you get a new app, it'll glitch. Things will start glitching on your phone. You're texting and it like deletes your text. Or you open an app and it shuts down. It's glitching. We all know what a glitch is. Do you feel that glitch in your own life? You go to do something, you're like, Gugh. No, wait, hold on. Ah! You're like, wait, I've done this before, but oh, the way that I used to do this doesn't feel right anymore. The way that I used to operate doesn't work anymore. What used to light me up isn't lighting me up anymore. Like what do I do with this? I mean, the good news is all we need to do is upgrade your operating system. Now, that's a pretty technical thing. I'm saying it in a laissez-faire way, but it is quite simple. All we need is to upgrade our internal operating system so that the destiny that is calling us, that we feel, can come through. It's about coherence. A coherent energetic field is where your mind, your heart, your sex, your body are all in harmony. Your life force energy can fully flow through every part of your system. And that creates a coherent field. Imagine, you know what this feels like you're talking to somebody and they're telling you a story and then they like embellish the story just for flair, for dramatics. And they embellish the story and they say something that's like, it's not true. Oh, I was with you till I wasn't. That doesn't resonate. What you're feeling is that incoherence, that incongruence between what they're saying and what happened. Y'all, we read energy all the time. You walk into a room and you feel tension. You're reading energy. You're reading the field. You're feeling it. Intuition is intuitive data comes through the body. But most of us are not in our bodies. We're stuck in our heads. And we're looping the thoughts, the beliefs. But if I let go of this, what's going to come next? Okay, I let go of the thing. I took the leap, but now I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a strategy. I don't have a 10-step plan. Instead of feeling the actual emotions, you just talk to yourself about them. We're having conversations in our heads about all these different emotions, about all these different possibilities or probabilities that keeps us in the old operating system. Is this making sense so far? And I'm going to spell out the old operating system and the new operating system, but I want you to feel where this might show up in your life. So the old operating system. I'm going to call it faulty code. We're sticking with the tech analogies. We are a computer. We are a computer interface that engages with the world. And what is coded into our computer is what pops up in the world. So imagine you have let's say you have a computer and it's supposed to show you a heart. And the code behind the scenes, you don't see the code, but it's probably A, B, A, B, A. And you type in A, B, A, B, A, and a heart pops up. Great, that is source code. A, B, A, B, A is the source code for the heart. Well, then one day you open your laptop and the heart's broken. You're like, the computer's messed up. There's a pixel wrong in the screen. You're trying to shake the computer and like mess with the physical computer like you're wrong. But the computer is just spitting out what was input into it. And then you go look at the code that's written and it's like, oh, the code is distorted. It's A, B, A, B, B. Somehow the internal code got messed up and it's A, B, A, B, B, and now the heart is broken. That's what we do in our lives. We're like, this physical thing in my life, I don't like it. I don't like this job. I'm not making enough money. I don't know what to do with my money. I don't trust myself with this wealth that just came in. I'm meeting the wrong people. My relationship is whatever. And we try to fix the thing. Well, we're trying to fix the output rather than adjusting the input that created it. Does that make sense? So think about where that shows up in your life. Because we all do it. We're all human. And usually that's where people go into their heads. Let me just strategize this differently. Let me just listen to the loop in different thoughts and play out these different scenarios. Maybe if I did this, then the heart would come into it, the broken heart would come back together. Maybe if I have a conversation with the computer, maybe I just have a heartfelt conversation with the computer and say, you know what, I would really love it for this broken heart to go back into a normal heart. And we play out these different scenarios in our heads. And then we're stuck there. Rather than look at the coding that is creating that experience. So, the old operating system, how most of us are currently operating, has distorted code in it. Not because we're bad, not because we're wrong, because that's the world that we live in. And some of that is conditioning from childhood. Some of that is karmic imprints from past lives. It can be any variety of things. The why is not as important as the what do we do about it. Because it's really easy to stay stuck when you're focusing on the why. How did this get here? And that's what happens in a lot of spiritual development places or healing spaces, is you're just living in healing loops. Well, let me track the origin of every little detail of every little thing that I am experiencing. That can be helpful. There's a time and a place for it. You can also spend your entire life tracking why, where, and how each little line of code in your body and your life got shifted. You could spend your whole life doing that. Or we can say, what is source code? What is the source coded template? That is the upgraded operating system, is returning to source code. Are y'all with me with the languaging so far? Yeah? Okay. So, distortion, source code. That's what we're in internally. Now, I want to kind of give you a map. Ooh, I'm hot. I'll give you a map. When people come to me privately, what I do is I track clairvoyantly. I track your life force energy through your body. I'm kind of like an architect. I can see how energy flows through like the blueprint that then creates your body, your life, etc. So just like there's a blueprint for a house, the architect creates the blueprint, and then the builders come in and they build the house based on that blueprint. That's what I look at. So when an individual comes to me, I will look at your blueprint, how you're currently wired, and I will trace your life force through your body to see where it's currently running. And this is how I know that 99.999% of the world is operating from a distorted operating system, because we all are. Here's what that means. When your life force flows through your body, it animates various intelligences. When your life force flows through your physical body, it animates your somatic intelligence. Your heart knows how to beat. Your lungs know how to breathe. Your digestive system knows how to digest. That's your somatic intelligence, your nervous system. So this is where people say somatic healing, that's the answer. Yeah, it is for that layer of your operating system. Another layer. When your life force energy moves through your heart, it animates your emotional intelligence. When it flows through your mind, it animates your mental intelligence. Those are the three primary intelligences. Most of us are aware of those. There's a few higher intelligences that people have been activating. One is your intuitive intelligence. That's when your energy, your life force can flow beyond the linear mind and access intuitive data. There's tangible data, that logic that the mind can pick up on, and there's intangible data that your intuitive senses pick up on. And it defies logic. Sometimes it competes with what logic says. And it's like a muscle. The more you listen to it, the more you follow it, the more evidence it can give you that it's true, that it's real. That's how you develop self-trust. When you don't override your own intuitive knowing and do the logical thing instead, you trust the intuitive knowing, you act on it, and it proves to you that was a wise move. Intuition knows something that my mind cannot. Because it has access to a much broader range of data. It is data. That's the intuitive intelligence. Now, who here feels like your intuitive intelligence is on? Who here feels like you follow it? Depends what it is. That's a part of this new operating, this upgraded operating system, is switching the order of operations. Where intuitive intelligence comes first, logic comes second. Y'all, that is the exact opposite of what we've been taught. That is the exact opposite of what we are most likely practiced at doing. Now, they both have a place, but the order of operations has been reversed. That's the distortion. That's that code flipped. Is that we put logic first and intuition second. We're like, logic says this, but intuition says this. But give me a sign. Give me a sign that my intuition is right. Give me a sign that it's safe to follow my intuition. Okay, well, that sign came in, but I don't know if that was like really a sign. Give me one more sign. Let me pull one more card just to make sure that this intuition is trustworthy, is reliable. That's the toggle. That's the toggle between those two intelligences. The mind is like, make this linear, make this make sense. I need 10 signs. 1 isn't enough, 2 isn't enough, 5, no, 10. Give me 10. The toggle. It's trying to switch the order of operations. Intuition is trying to take the lead. And the mind is so strong. Those neural pathways are so deep that you have to override your own sense of safety in order to follow intuition. So yeah, it's easy with small things. Is it easy when it tells you to quit your job? Is it easy when it tells you to leave a relationship? Is it easy when it tells you to let everything go that you know to be true because there's something better and greater on the other side? Do you follow it then? I was working with my first mentor when I was in finance, when all of this was coming online for me. And I've never looked for mentors. They just come into my life when I need them. I've never shopped around for that's never happened. They just come in, and when they come in, I'm like, "Fuck, okay. What's this gonna be?" Because I know we're doing this, but like, what is this? And this was my first real mentor, and she said, "If you could wave your magic wand in a year, what do you want to happen?" I was like, "Well, I want to leave finance. I want to be on purpose. I want to be doing my soul thing. I don't really know what that is." She's like, "Okay." And she charged me $18,000. At that time, I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That was really a lot of money then for mentorship with her. And I did it because I knew I had to. Intuition was like, and go. And my mind was kicking and screaming. Best decision I ever made. Would not be here without the mentors that I've had along the way. So, reverence to everybody that has supported me. And I was in a session with her, and we did this exercise, an intuitive exercise. And basically, I got a vision. She was guiding me on when to leave finance. I thought I was going to leave in a year. Basically, in this intuitive exercises, a vision came in that said to leave in 3 months. I left in 3 months. Paid her 18 grand, left in 3 months. Then I had her to help me as I'm like, what is this? What am I doing? I don't know. Best decision I ever made. Logic was not having it. Replaced my income the first year, doubled it the second year without a plan because intuition was in the lead and it had access to data that my linear mind did not. Other example, 2 years ago, I have a thriving online business, doing all the things. And I heard one day, are you willing to let it all go to receive what's next? Because I felt that threshold. I didn't know what was next, but I knew I was burnt out. And I was like, okay. Went on a 1 month hiatus. 1 month turned into a year. Then I moved across the country without a home to land in. I let go of everything that I knew to be true. My business, my revenue streams, my home, my friends, and went through the biggest death portal of my life for a year. This is the home, the one that you're looking at. This is the home that appeared after being homeless for a month and living out of a suitcase across the country where I didn't know people. That's not logical. But what happened in that process was everybody that I thought that I was died. Every identity that couldn't step forward into the next chapter of my life dissolved. And those are cute words to say, but the experience of it feels like death because it is. And that's that process of the void where you don't know which way is up, which way is down. Did I make the right choice? I don't know what I'm doing. Who am I? But that's a part of the process of the next destiny coming in. Because that in that time, your operating system is upgrading. And in that time, again, I shut off all my revenue streams on purpose. That sounds crazy. That sounds crazy. And I lived on cash, and it lasted miraculously longer than it ever should have. I mean, when you surrender and say, I've always been supported, I will always be supported, let's see how this happens. Then you can really receive the magic. Even through fear and lack and scarcity and unraveling all of that and having moments of feeling like you're going to die alone under a bridge, a homeless person. And that's what's going to be written on your tombstone. Had a lot of potential, failed. Had so much going for her, public humiliation. Like that's what happens in the brain. But I want us to really ground in the fact that that is a part of the process of your next destiny coming into form. So who here feels like you're in that void, death process right now? Several. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break to go through comments. Oh my God, time is flying. There's still so much I want to say. Okay, feeling it, feeling it, feeling it. Just realized when I get overwhelmed with the energy is when I leak it. Yes, yes. Deep toggle, glitching, knowing something big is coming has been sending me into the brain loop of why, what, how. Great. Confused. Great. Oh, Lacey, you were my first mentor, first investment in myself on this spiritual journey. I love that. I remember that vividly. Okay, lots of death, grounding, rebirth, intuition. Great. Okay. All right, so here's what I want to discuss. We're still on old operating system, new operating system. The old operating system is analog. We're trying to physically create. We're trying to manifest. Y'all, manifestation is real. But a lot of modern day manifestation teachings are still coming from a place of do, act, force, create. I have the vision. I need to get the vision, project the vision, and then align with the vision. That's real. And it's not the highest technology available. Modern day manifestation is not the highest technology available. The higher technology in this upgraded operating system is being created through. I want to note the difference. In being created through, you don't have to know what it looks like. You don't have to have a vision. Because inevitably that vision is going to be limiting because it's coming through the limited human mind. And so this last death process that I was in, that was a big internal battle for me. What vision do I hold? I don't have one anymore. How do I create when I don't know what I'm creating? How can I live a life that is beyond my wildest dreams if it's so far beyond my wildest dreams that I can't connect to a vision of it? Are y'all feeling this? This is a higher level of creation, and you know what it requires? Deep faith. Deep, deep. I can't even make my voice any lower, like deep faith. I mean, like through the sacral and root, like primal faith. But you know why that's hard? Because we're not in our bodies. Because we're not in our bodies, we're in our heads. So we can't get that deep, visceral, in my body faith. Because we're looping up here in monkey mind and playing out all these different situations and trying on different visions. Old operating system, new operating system, like primal squat in the forest. God, have your way with me. That's the new operating system. That's the higher technology of creation, is being created through. So it's like going from analog to digital or beyond digital to quantum. I mean, quantum computing is a thing now. I love that the word quantum is like very grounded in science. It also has kind of a woo-woo air to it because a lot of people use it out of context. But as someone who has taught the mechanics of quantum leaping and quantum creation for many years now, I can tell you this is very, very real. And so this operating system upgrade is going from analog, maybe digital, to quantum. It's going from led by the mind to being an empty vessel. That scares the shit out of people. Because when you're an empty vessel, you don't know. You don't know. That's deep, deep faith. And the old operating system is mental and strategic. Even if you have spiritual practices, even if you're using your intuition, it's still mental strategic is the primary. And this new operating system that we're going to be upgrading to is the intuitive erotic. Now, going back to seeing clients personally and tracing life force through their bodies, we talked about the three primary intelligences. One higher intelligence is intuition. The other higher intelligence is eros, is the erotic intelligence. Now, this is not just about sex. This is about your life force energy flowing through heart and sex combined. That is the erotic. That is eros. That is erotic energy. Now, I can tell you from reading countless people's fields over the years, it is very rare that I find somebody that their heart and sex are fully connected. It is rare. That is the biggest distortion in the code of the old operating system, is the disconnection between heart and sex, which cuts off our creative, erotic intelligence and also dilutes and limits our intuitive intelligence. Because if your life force can't fully flow up between heart and sex, it's definitely not getting all the way piercing through the linear mind into the quantum field of pure potentiality. It can't. It's stuck. And so this is why I say 99.999% of the planet, your life force energy, specifically in the sexual center, is either leaking or suppressed. It's not fully flowing. And you can see this in very tangible ways. When you want validation from somebody, when you, I'm trying to think of recent examples with myself, friends, or clients. Like you put something out there in the world, your creation or your expression or an offer, whatever it is, and you're kind of like anxious, like waiting to see how people respond. Like, do they like it? Do they like it? Do they feel it? Does it resonate? That's leaking your energy. And it creates an open loop. So rather than your life force fully flowing through you, it leaks out towards these other people and you're craving their validation or their feedback. So your own energy comes back to you through them. Does this make sense? Let it land. So really what we're doing here is reinstating the operating system that runs in a vertical axis, the y axis. God, source, whatever word you use, your intuition, your mind, your heart, your sex, your root down into the earth. Your energy runs up and down. Most people, their energy is running up a little bit and then out. And then back here and up and then out. There's a lot of horizontal exchange of energy that we're not aware of. We're leaking energy. We're plugging into other people, places, things, ideas. And then we feel connected to them because on a subconscious level, we're needing our energy back, but it's plugged into them. So we need to get it back through them. And this is where these unhealthy relationship dynamics exist, codependence, outsourcing your self-worth, needing validation, relying on certain people for money. I had this conversation with a client the other day. Money doesn't come from your clients. Money comes through you, through your vessel. And then that might create a client popping up and exchanging money with you. That might create an opportunity. But it's the y-axis first. That's the operating system that we're upgrading to. Man, I feel like I'm just like blasting y'all with terminology right now. Where are we? We're good. Okay. Keep blasting. Great. Okay. Okay. Old to new. And we're gonna do a layer of installation tomorrow. This is obviously multidimensional, so info. We're moving from the old operating system of prediction and possibility to potentiality. Prediction is linear. If I do this, then this will happen and this will be the outcome. It's like a linear strategy. That's not saying we will never have linear strategy again, but in this environment, linear strategy really just isn't going to work the way that it once did. It's just not. Everything's changing too quickly. So we're moving to potentiality. That's the quantum field. The quantum field is where everything already exists in frequency form. Ideas that you have, ideas that you don't even know to have. Things that you desire, desires that you don't even know to desire. Already all exist in frequency form in the quantum field. That's what we're moving into accessing. We're moving from fragmentation, that disconnect between heart and sex, that in the mind but not intuition, any type of fragmentation in your field, old operating system. New operating system, coherence. Energy fully flowing, all resonant, coherent field. Because anything you create will take on the energy that you created it from. I created a thriving multi-six-figure digital business from a state of panic, fear, and scarcity. It worked. Replaced my income the first year, doubled it the second year, had clients I loved, my time was very leveraged, I truly enjoyed what I was doing, I had free time, like it on paper, it looked amazing. But I created that from internal chaos. I created that from, I just left my job, what do I have to do, what do I do? And then, even when I had the money, the time, the clients, the business, the travel, I had all the things, I still felt that underlying instability. Because that's the energy I built it from. And now I can genuinely say, as of the past 6 months, this is fresh. I've spent the last 2 years going through this upgrade that I'm now talking to you about in 2 hours. It took me 2 years. I spent my cash down to zero, had to start selling investments to pay rent, which is far beneath my financial threshold. And it was in that moment, it was like 1 or 2 months that I had to do that. The last tendril of fear left my body. I didn't have the energy to worry anymore. I didn't have the energy to loop in my head about what ifs anymore. I didn't have the energy to try to strategize my way out of it. I surrendered to God, to the divine, to infinite intelligence that flows through all of us in a deeper way than I ever have before. And what do you know? Out of thin air, people start approaching me again, clients start coming in. I don't advertise my one-on-one a lot. It's a synchronistic thing. If we're meant to do it, we do it. Came out of thin air because I anchored peace. And when I uprooted my business and my life and moved, I declared very boldly, because I had pages of testimonials that said, of people all over the world saying, this work changed my life. Thank you so much. I'm living my dreams. But I looked in the mirror and was deeply unfulfilled. I was like, what? Something's got to give. How come everyone that I'm touching isn't, living the life of their dreams and fulfilled and happy and etc.? And I've created what I set out to create, but I'm not happy or fulfilled. And so when I uprooted everything, I declared I will only create what's next from a state of peace and personal fulfillment. I didn't know that would take 2 years for me to anchor. I didn't know that would require me uprooting my life, spending my money down to zero, selling investments, and then finally surrendering. But it did. And now the me that you are engaging with right now is a me with this new operating system coming from a state of peace that I've never felt before. And everything coming through to be created now could not have come through when I was still operating from fear, scarcity, lack, doing, manifestation, the mind, disembodied. It's too high of a frequency to come through a distorted vessel. It can't. It can't do it. It would distort the creation. And so that's why when I work with these high achievers or public figures and they're like, I have everything on paper, why don't I feel? Why is it not enough? I feel guilty that it's not enough. I feel guilty that I want more. That's the internal operating system. So we're moving from force, burnout. Y'all, burnout has been a key phrase for how many years now? That's been the standard operating system. We're moving from our force, the fuel being force and burnout, to the fuel being eros. Now that sounds poetic in theory, but to actually change that internally and stop forcing things and drop into your body and let your life force animate you and drop into that practice and move from there, people have a lot of resistance to that. Because that's where all your shame is, your trauma is, your discomfort is, the parts of yourself that you hide from all live there. That's why your energy can't flow. So in theory, it sounds great to be like, I romanced my life. and I flirt with the world and things come into form and I feel so good and things just happen. But what it takes to get there is dropping so deep into your body and moving through those places that prohibit your life force from fully flowing and reclaiming your holy erotic nature. You can have a great sex life and not be connected to your holy erotic nature. You can be celibate and very clean in your energy and still not be connected to your holy erotic nature. I saw that vividly when I moved. I'm in Orange County now, and when I moved out here, I was shocked. I would go out dancing with some friends at a bougie place. We're all dressed up. Me and my girls are dancing. You know, we're in our bodies. We're comfortable. We're having fun. We're radiating joy. And I would look, and there was a table of women, and they were dressed to the nines. They were absolutely beautiful. And they were staring at us like with stars in their eyes, like, wow. And they didn't feel comfortable to move. They didn't want to get up. They wouldn't. They were so caged in themselves that seeing our free expression was like, wow, to them. And then I would look and smile to like invite them to dance, and they would like look away, like they weren't looking. It's like a spectacle. You know, it's that radiance that flows through you, and that's what creates the magnetism to draw everything in anyways. God, I could teach a whole like 10-part series on magnetism. We can't go there right now. So that's the erotic intelligence. So old operating system, mental, strategy, linear, force, analog. New operating system, intuitive, erotic, quantum, being created through. We're going from manifestation to quantum creation, which is being the vessel for creation to happen through. And the last one is moving from scarcity, anxiety, fear to peace, surrender, fulfillment. Not as a byproduct of creating a thing, of receiving a thing, of experiencing a thing. Creating such a deep internal baseline of peace, surrender, deep faith, that you are actually a coherent field for your next destiny to create through. Is this landing so far? Okay. Let me check the chat and then we'll see where we'll go from here. Okay. How do we tap into that? Tap into the erotic? I think that was the question. There are a lot of ways. I can't fully go into it here, but I can give you a few little bullet points. The first would be, well, let me see what it is for y'all specifically. So I teach an embodiment practice. I do kind of guided body practices to get deep into your body. So dancing is a good one. Being naked in the mirror is a good one. Mirror work in general, like talking to yourself in the mirror when you're feeling some type of way, when you're in your head, go to the mirror, say it out loud to yourself. You can't hide from yourself. You will see your emotions. You will see which part of you, your inner child that's like actually afraid. You'll see your tears. You'll see your anger. Like you'll see yourself. And so it's like the more that you be with and feel and express the parts of yourself that you hide from, the more that automatically deepens you in to your erotic nature because it's just letting that energy flow. Does that make sense? Because most of the places, well, a common place that we're disconnected from our erotic energy is expression. We just stifle our own expression. We don't want to laugh too loud. We don't want to move too much. We don't want to shake our hips because what's somebody going to see or what's somebody going to think or what's somebody going to. We're so busy experiencing ourselves from outside of ourselves rather than experiencing ourselves from within and letting that be what it is. Instead, we project our consciousness out through other people's eyes and minds and imagine what they see or what they think or what they imagine about us. And so we're not even in our bodies anymore. So the quick bullet point answer of how to connect to your erotic nature, get in your body, feel your feelings, fully express. There's a lot more there, but that would be my headline. So really, well, yeah, let's talk about the phases of destiny now. So if we know that there's a new destiny available at each layer of consciousness, and we're in this raising our level of consciousness, first I want to say there's multiple destinies available right now. So now is not the time to play small. Now is the time to dream big. Now is the time to let your shit come up, to let parts of you die, to feel the discomfort. Because hear me when I say, what's on the other side is always worth it. It's what level of discomfort are you willing and able to tolerate on the way there? Only you can make that decision. And some people wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait until the universe slaps you in the face, and then it's so much more painful than it ever needed to be if you would have done it yourself before. Because we're getting to our destiny. Whatever level of consciousness we're at, we're getting to that destiny. The route might look different. Might have different scenery. It might be less painful. They're more excruciating. Usually, if it's by your own sovereign choice, that's the most seamless path. But that's also the scary one. Because, like, yeah, I'll go skydiving if somebody pushes me out of the plane, but I can't jump myself. Same thing. But also, not only are we going to get to our destiny regardless, but there's higher destinies available, and that's where choice comes in. Because this year is momentum. Momentum. I started feeling it mid-December. Usually I don't feel the next year until closer to the Lunar New Year, closer to spring. I felt it mid-December and was like, what is this? It is coming. And that's the thing about momentum is where is it taking you? Your action directs momentum. And for some people, the action to take right now is to let yourself be in your discomfort, is to let yourself let go of the things that you're afraid to let go of, is to let yourself face the feelings and go into those places within yourself that you've been avoiding. That might be your action. So here's the phases of destiny. Oh, I really want to talk about that too. Maybe tomorrow. So first, we recognize that multiple destinies are available. Step one. Multiple destinies are available because we're working with the quantum field where everything already exists in frequency form. All we have to do is be the vessel for it to come into physical form through. The quantum comes into form through the body. If you're not in the body, it's going to be hard for you to access your highest level destiny. It can't come through you. So the first step is realize that there's multiple destinies available at each layer of consciousness. And right now we're in a wave of momentum that can really pick us up to like not only one level higher, but 2, 3, 4 levels higher if we so choose. So dream big, don't play small. Like you can go for it right now. That's step one. And actually, I want to paint this picture. No, we'll do that tomorrow. The second one is the toggling. So it's like we know multiple destinies exist and we start to feel. We feel a pull, we feel a pull. That's how we know it exists. We don't see it. We might not know what it is, but we feel it. And then the toggle. When you're toggling between identities, between operating systems, between who you think you are, between the standards that you hold for yourself. Your nervous system is toggling. Because the nervous system feels safe in the old operating system. The nervous system feels safe in the old destiny, the one that you've already lived, and you're now like, okay, now what? Your nervous system feels safe there. The nervous system still needs to expand to hold the more that's calling you forward. And so it can feel very glitchy. That's the glitch. Because your body has not yet adapted to a new bandwidth. Because what's coming through is bigger. We're not going backwards. We're evolving. And like, yeah, it's an up and down process along the way, just like the stock market, but over time it's going up. Our consciousness is raising. Once you see beyond the veil, you can't unsee it. You can't go back. So if you're trying to hide from it, like, good luck. You're hiding from yourself. There is no turning back. And so the toggle is when like this new thing is pulling you, but you feel comfortable here and you're just like cemented with one foot right here. And then you're kind of being pulled over here and your nervous system is glitching and then you're in fear. I mean, it's like, bleh, it's chaos. But that's a part of the process. So you're not wrong. You're not behind. You're not messing up. You're not self-sabotaging. You're going through the process. So let yourself off the hook. You're not fucking it all up. You're going through at the pace of your nervous system. And your nervous system feels most stable when you're in your body, not your head. So if you feel the glitch, get back into your body, your breath. That's all that's needed. You asked about the erotic nature. Get in your breath. Breathe your energy up and down. Everyone close your eyes right now. Begin breathing into your heart space. In the center of your chest, at the base of your sternum, right before your ribs begin to split. And with every inhale, imagine a seed of light getting brighter. And with every exhale, it expands. Expanding through your body. Through your energy field. And now imagine weaving the infinity sign in your heart space. And it activates your center line of energy. shooting down through the center of your body, down into the core of the earth, and up through the center line of your body, through your heart, through the crown of your head, up into Source, God, Spirit above. And now for a few breaths, just breathe up and down your center line of energy. And just notice. Notice how it feels as you allow your breath to move your energy. Notice if your mind can still. Notice if you can feel your physical body in the places that the breath is moving through. And notice if there's anywhere that the energy flows quite naturally moving up and down. And if there's anywhere in the body where it gets stuck or it reroutes. And breathe into your tailbone, anchoring yourself here. And place your hands on your body, holding your physical body wherever you feel called to hold yourself, touch yourself, caress yourself, locate yourself physically here. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Then notice how you feel as you re-enter the room. We're not even doing energy work yet. That's tomorrow. I just want you to feel present in your own body, in your own energy. Did you feel a shift? Type in the chat box what you feel or what shifted. A word, a phrase, first thing that came to mind. Calm, grounded, calm, peace, present, lighter, present, fully. Great. From this state, awareness, from this state, you can sovereignly choose. From this state, you have more access to these higher intelligences, intuitive intelligence, erotic intelligence. Y'all, it's the simplest practice. We can go into much more detail and detailed layers, but take this into your life. When you're toggling, do that. Do you feel yourself toggling right now? So notice the difference in your body. Where do you feel it in your body when you're toggling? Some people say the head, some people say the breath. Some people it's just like a frantic pace, like a fast pace. Chest, head, anxiety. All you're doing is locating in your lived experience what your toggle feels like so you can anchor back in. Okay, I think we're gonna have to finish this tomorrow. We're almost out of time. Hi, babe. Third step. So first, there's multiple destinies available. Two, we toggle. between old and new, old and new, old and new. Third, we update. We update our operating system. This happens through the void. And we're going to talk more about that tomorrow in very tangible terms and do energy work on it. Oh, excited. Because your upgraded operating system helps the new destiny stabilize. You can imagine destiny like a hologram. That's how I see them. So you come to me for private work. I look at your body. I look at how your energy is operating. We work on your operating system. And then I look at your blueprint and I look at your destiny, the one that's available. And I see where energy is running. Usually what I see is we have the old or the current destiny, like a hologram, and the new destiny. And our life force energy is fueling, it's running through the old destiny. So when we upgrade our operating system, ultimately what we're doing and learning how to do, it's a process. We can learn how to do it, and then you have this process for the rest of your life, is we learn how to run our arrows, run our life force through the new hologram, the new destiny, and then we're living in it. And then that's the code, that's the life, pops into form. So we're learning how to reroute our energy and live from an upgraded place. Does that make sense? Okay, I feel like I'm getting technical, but I actually want to get more technical. We just don't have the time. I geek out on this stuff. So then next step, that your Eros fuels the new hologram. Your life force is running through your upgraded operating system, which is connected to this higher destiny. Your energy is fueling it. And that's when you get the intuitive insight. You get the idea. So what happens next, step 5, I think we'll say, is the God frequency reorganizes the field. This is not force. This is not strategy. This is, I upgrade my operating system, which, let's be realistic, this could take months. You don't upgrade your operating system overnight. It took me 2 years. Now that I'm helping people do it, I've done it in 1 to 6 months. What took me 2 years to live and decode, I can now help people do in a fraction of the time. But to set expectations, you're not going to come to a 90-minute masterclass and upgrade your entire operating system overnight. It's far more intricate than that, but this can be a big catalyst. And it can help you understand what you're experiencing so you don't loop in it for longer than you have to. So, upgrade operating system, 2 minutes left, almost done. God reorganizes the field. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to strategize about it. God reorganizes the field. The intuitive insight comes in. The person calls. The connection reaches out and refers you to somebody. The opportunity opens. And then you take aligned action. You take audacious action. That's going to be a theme for tomorrow's call, is audacious action. Because yes, while we are fortifying our vessel and upgrading our operating system to be created through, the last step of the process is taking audacious action, because your action directs momentum. You can't just lay on your floor in your erotic energy and getting intuitive insights and flirting with life and be like, la, it magically appeared. The quantum comes into form through the body, and the body takes action. But the order of operations is different. I will recap this tomorrow before we go into energetics and make this very tangible for symptoms and how you're experiencing this. You can really have some shifts that you can apply right now. For now, tell me how you're feeling. Excited. Feeling good, excited, excited. Okay. Tonight, I want you to sit with, because I'm going to ask you first thing tomorrow. I'm ready for this, and it's a lot. Great. I'm going to want you to share what destiny you feel like is calling to you. Sit with it. Doesn't have to be a crystal clear vision. It doesn't have to be a tangible thing. Just see if you can be with in your body what's calling you and what that feels like or what threshold you're at. Because there will be an opportunity, and I'll talk about it tomorrow, to go through this process with an intimate group of people led by me over 6 months. For now, I want you to make this as tangible and grounded in your life as possible. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting me. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.